actually partially answered my question, but it would be a better ecosystem and less likely to produce virus. That's the part I wasn't quite sure about.
Okay, yeah, oh my gosh, you guys really are asking really great questions. So human health, really, I have not seen anybody test, I haven't seen any test results for any of these viruses. I'm actually thinking of getting myself tested at this point because I've poked myself a number of times sampling these fish. So, you know, maybe I'll go first. But in general, these viruses don't live in warmer body temperatures. But I say it is an influenza virus. And when it jumped from pigs to birds, you know, that is very dangerous. And so quite often after a lecture, some health practitioner will come up afterwards and say, it really concerns me that people are eating an influenza virus that is in a feedlot. Because feedlots change pathogens. They compete with each other. The rules are different. The fish, their host, only lives for 18 months. So the whole virus live lightly on your host, that goes out the window. And they switch to another strategy, which is hit them hard, because there's going to be another host, and game over in 18 months anyway. So you might as well replicate. And your second question, well, that NAMGIS project does have Piscine reovirus in it. That's how I know that Marine Harvest has put the rest of that brood out into the ocean. They might be able to select away from it. They will be able to control it. But it's still going to be in those fish. Now there's a reovirus that is ubiquitous in chicken farming too, which really does concern me since they're feeding chickens to these salmon, but that's another stone to turn another day. I don't think farming salmon is a great idea because it's a carnivore. So if you were to start with the algae product, you would be farming something else. One of the things in Dr. Gary Marty's notes throughout those Cohen Commission documents was that these fish are suffering liver damage, and he is theorizing it's from the high grain content in their diet. So, yeah, closed containment doesn't answer all the questions, but it does mean that we get to keep our wild fish.
I was there just a couple of days ago, and there are 5 different brands for canned salmon. And we have the pink salmon, we have the red salmon, we have the wild Pacific salmon. There's so many names. And then you look to see where you can ask about it, and it says product of USA. I mean, I don't even know where to find information. When you go to the manager of the fish product section in the various stores, they don't even know that they've called a fish a different name. So we can't even talk about what's that, because they're calling it something different. And I don't know anymore either. So how do we hit at the bottom where we're buying?
Well, if it's fresh, you look for the white fat bars.
Well, I was looking for the can.
But yeah, as far as I know, they're not canning farm salmon at the moment, but as they run into more and more diseases, I mean, they are making them into patties and things like this. I was at Superstore, was it yesterday or the day before, and they're selling Atlantic salmon this big, which is a big red light. There's a problem because they want to grow them this big. So yeah, you're just going to have to research the labels, and it is a good question. Yeah.
We had a very excellent lecture a few weeks ago at Charlottetown Discovery Center, and it was I can't remember his name right now, but it was the fellow from the Vancouver Aquarium, who has been the one who's instigated and instituted and oversees the OceanWise designation, which a number of supermarkets have picked up on, a number of suppliers, a number of restaurants, and that's more about sustainability than anything, and making sure that whatever you're eating is sustainable. Could you comment on your feelings about that, or what you know about the OceanWise designation?
Yeah, OceanWise is trying. We did find the salmon alpha virus. Oh, she wanted to know about OceanWise as a certification and whether that was a sustainable seafood product. It is run by the Vancouver Aquarium. But we did find salmon alpha virus in one of their approved products, which is a farm steelhead in Lois Lake near Powell River. And they basically said, you better go back out and prove that it's gone to the wild fish. So I'm doing that now, and we'll see how they respond to that, because this will be a test for them. It's interesting, in 2010, the CFIA decided to do an intervention because BC farm salmon was being rejected by European and US markets because of the disease issue. And that intervention has failed. In Nova Scotia, the CFIA allowed the Cook Aquaculture to grow ISA-infected fish for 6 months and then sell them to the public. And the US FDA said they didn't want it. They were quoted in the Toronto Star. They did not want it. And so that leads to the question, is it being sorted, and so that the non-ISA is going to the US and the ISA is going to Canada? Because that would be like the XL beef scandal, where this 2008 memo from the CFIA said, oh, a little fecal splatter is okay for Canadians, but really clean it up if it's going to go to Japan. So I think that Canada is going to face a World Trade Organization dispute, because in Chile, ISA just got diagnosed again. They have to kill their fish. Cernapesca, which is the DFO in Chile, they got to kill their fish. They give them a time limit. You got to kill those fish. But in Canada, they're letting us grow ISA-infected fish. They're not inspecting product that's going over the border, where the OIE lab is finding ISA in that product. US says they don't want it. We are headed for an international scandal. This is going to be a big incident as soon as the US decides to react to it or not. There's a lot of rules out there, but they really have been thrown out the window.